Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is No Soundbites Allowed, and I am your host, Michael Voss, the political dragon, here on April 4th. It's approximately noon, and I'm talking with you about affirming the science, making sure that we don't question any scientist, any of the scientific findings, no matter what. And I think that really is emphasized by the latest study that we'll talk about in just one second. But before we get started, we want to welcome you and thank you for being part of our audience. We also want to let you know that we do long-form political commentary, and every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live stream with you to reach out across the world to hear your voice about all the issues that matter to each of us. We hope you will join us on our celebration of the First Amendment this Sunday at 2:30 p.m. With that said, some very interesting news came out today. Now, before we get to that, we do want to mention that it is absolutely important to make sure that you are affirming the approved message that you've heard from scientists, from politicians, individuals that have the correct progressive agenda.
If we spent those trillions of dollars and became carbon neutral by 2050 in the United States, how much will it reduce world temperatures?
I don't have an answer for that.
You don't know?
No.
Only by following that correct agenda, that approved message, will you be safe.
This is a simple, basic proposition. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized, you're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die. So it's gigantically important that we all act like Americans that care about our fellow Americans.
I mean, there could be nothing worse than denying the science. Because even if you have a question, you're not a scientist. Although you might be able to read a scientific paper, but that's not the same thing as having a politician tell you what you should know. But that brings up the issue of a recent report that just got published. A 15-year report. Now, it's a very interesting issue that we have all been talking about in recent years. It is about the explosive growth of the trans movement in the United States. We know that many people have had conflict because of this trans movement, and we have seen a massive celebration amongst the media and Hollywood and progressives to try and correct what we have seen in the past, to celebrate the trans movement, that trans women are more important and more effective than men. You may say, Mike, but Mike, it's been settled. We know this. The science, the news reports, the approved message from Hollywood and politicians. Even in sports, we know it's settled. Trans women are better than women. And the only people who are complaining, well, they don't like women. They don't like trans people. It is a problem. They are transphobes if they dare question anything. Because the science, right? Well, which science exactly? We've seen several long-term studies. And in each study, we have seen that somewhere in the 90th percentile of young kids grow up to be binary individuals, binary adults. The most recent study may be the most definitive, a 15-year study. The news media may not be approved to tell you this. That's why we would recommend read the report itself. Read the scientific facts. You don't have to be a scientist to read the report. And according to the report, 98% of those kids from 11 to the age of 22 will become non-trans adults. That's just the data. And according to the 15-year scientific study, those who are most likely to become trans are women with emotional and or mental issues with low self-esteem that happen to be either gay or bi. That's just what the data says. According to the study of over 2,700 kids from age 11 until age 26, only 2% of those in the study over that 15-year period are shown to have either become or become more likely to be trans. And while this confirms prior studies from Taiwan of 87% and in the United States of 90%, we have to consider, what does this mean here in the United States? Since 2020, more than 20 states have had some kind of ban on gender-affirming care. Multiple states across the nation have had some kind of restriction on those who are under 18 receiving medications and surgeries that would change their gender forever. Now, there are 16 states that are fighting against the studies that have shown that kids outgrow tendencies or feelings of being trans. Even groups like the National Organization for Women are defending those trans women in women's sports because they are better than women and they have been approved by the politicians, by the news media, and of course Hollywood. It's only natural to be upset with those who deny science. The reality is obvious for anyone. And those that deny science are obviously not looking out for the best interest of our children. The data is in, and you should be paying attention. So now that you know the truth, now that you know the science, you can't deny it anymore, right? We look forward to seeing what you have to say.
No Soundbites Allowed is a podcast hosted by Michael Vass. The podcast focuses on providing in-depth discussions on various political and social issues. As the title suggests, the aim is to go beyond quick sound bites and explore topics in greater detail. Michael Vass, the host, engages with guests to analyze and discuss current events, policies, and political ideologies. The live stream and videos cover a wide range of subjects, including politics, economics, social issues, and more. By delving into longer, more comprehensive conversations, No Soundbites Allowed aims to provide listeners with a deeper understanding of the complexities surrounding contemporary issues. AI is listening. Shouldn't you know what AI knows? Aren't you tired of being treated like a child by major media parrots and want to be respected as an adult? There is nothing to lose and a lot to potentially gain, so check out No Soundbites Allowed on all major social media platforms.